Texting. Welcome to a very, very flustered, rabbled, disheveled, whatever you want to call it. We are here in the mid-sack. It is Tip 'em Back Tuesday. Yes, I think it's our first edition, our first Tip 'em Back Tuesday edition.
This is the first edition.
I think it's the first edition, first of many. Football's right around the corner, but oh, my friends, tonight. People want to know, why tonight? Why of all nights? Oh, sometimes, folks, you wake up, the birds are singing. Or in this case, the birds are dying.
Yeah.
Okay,
birds are running into the glass door.
Everything's going wrong. Yeah, nothing's going wrong. My daughter's crashing into a trash barrel that's bigger than her, like you can't see it. All kinds of weird shit's going on. Okay, so the reason for the impromptu tonight, and again, going forward, hopefully there'll be more of these. But my dear friend, brother, welcome back. By the way, I was hoping it'd be under better circumstances. This was supposed to be 24 hours, but I digress. That's all right. We are here out of necessity. One Tom Izzo, let me just set the stage here. The Mets coming out of the weekend were looking in great shape. They were heading down south. They're in Atlanta for this, right? For a big 4-game dukaroo with their rival. The team looking up at the one team is looking up at them in the standings, looking down at them rather. The Braves, and it's a four best out of 4 here. So, a couple of things have happened, to say the least, in the past 48 hours. And I got an impromptu text from my buddy going, "What you doing?" I should have known then, but I wasn't. I didn't put 2 and 2 together.
The fact that you weren't aware kind of pissed me off.
I was watching Only Murders in the Building. If you haven't seen it, it's must-see TV. What am I going to do? Watch the Shit Sox play the Pirates?
No, when you know the Mets are in a big series because you know how volatile I am. You should have an eye on.
I know, but they're in good
because you don't know what my state of mind is.
Well, I didn't.
2 doors down.
I did not anticipate this. Now, look, I'm not saying that I thought the Mets were going to go down there and sweep them. No, I wasn't thinking that. I was telling him last time I talked to him, was hoping for a split, which, by the way, could still happen.
That's correct.
However, the events of the last 48 hours have led us to this moment where I have to be a good friend, and I don't mind. But the big black dildo is going to get a lot of work tonight. Okay, and I'm not going to be one doing most of the work. So with that, I'm going to give the floor to my dear friend, my compadre, my compatriot, the redoubtable Tom Izzo, who needs to vent. Tom, enlighten us.
Now, let me first say that I've already vented a couple times, okay? So there were some text messages exchanged with my father, some text messages exchanged with a friend of mine down the block, who's also a Mets fan. And then I also switched things up a little tonight on TikTok. I know I've talked about it on the show before. I've been posting a positive Mets thought of the day since Game 2 out of the All-Star break. So it's been, 18 days or something like that. But tonight I posted my first meltdown Mets moment of the day. Because I was having a meltdown. The Mets have lost 2 in a row. It seems like the past 5 days they lose a different guy every night. Escobar pulled a lat muscle. McNeil got his hand stepped on. Carrasco strains aside. Taijuan Walker back spasms. Tomas Nido. COVID IL, Luis Guillorme groin pull, 5 weeks. And it's just like, it's one of those things where it's so easy as a Met fan to slip into that, like, where, it's over mode. I don't know if it's PTSD from, like, collapses. And maybe that's a little insensitive to call that PTSD. It's not trauma like you think of trauma, but psychologically, when you're weak like me, and many Met fans out there, and your team loses, it feels like trauma. When you're hoping and thinking and expecting them to win a championship or to, get to the playoffs, and then they fold like a fitted sheet. I don't know if that's a good analogy, because a fitted sheet is really hard to fold.
Lawn chair? Lawn chair is
popular. They fold like a lawn chair. Yeah. Although some of those newer ones are a little weird because if you don't hit the button,
they're a little bit harder to fold. Yeah, so I'm talking about the traditional one that you and I know.
Maybe they fold like a dish towel.
That's possible. Yeah.
fold like a pair of kids' pants. You know, that's like typically like one fold.
One fold and one fold, boom, in the drawer.
So
sure.
So here's the thing. I still feel good about my Mets. But I'm also just super frustrated because, this has happened before, and I don't want injuries to bite them. That was one of the things I thought going into this season was that they were old. And they are old. They're one of the oldest teams in the league. So I hope they can withstand this. I hope they can get a split in Atlanta. This isn't the first time they've been up against a really good team this year, down 2-0 in a 4-game series. Out in Los Angeles against the Dodgers earlier in the year, they dropped the first 2 games of a series, and they were shorthanded, and they battled back. They won the final 2 games of that series, and it was a big kind of like measuring stick moment for them, where it was like, oh damn, they can play with the best team in the league, even when they don't have everybody. They didn't have Scherzer then. Mm-hmm. So there's certainly
they didn't have DeGrom either, right?
Oh, of course,
they didn't have either.
Yeah, they just got DeGrom back, but that was that 7-week period where Scherzer was out as well.
Yeah.
So they can win these next 2 games, especially because Scherzer and DeGrom are pitching. But still, it's easy to fall into that trap of negativity. And when it's against the Braves, it's just, it takes me back to the 90s when I hated everything about them. I hated the chop. Tomahawk chop was played out then. It's even more played out now.
Tell them about the light sticks.
So, a couple times there's been something going on where like the Braves have a rally. And as they're going to commercial, they zoom out on the stadium, and it's blacked out, and the fans have little light up glow stick. Maybe they're glow in the dark tomahawks. I think they're glow sticks, or they're asking people to hold their cell phones. Whatever, and on the giant jumbotron that is like the biggest jumbotron in the world. I think it's bigger than the Dallas one. There's like a picture of some freaking like glow in the dark thing doing the chop, and everybody in the stadium's oh. I mean, what is going on in Atlanta? Okay, you've got the Cleveland used to be Indians, now the Cleveland Guardians. The Washington used to be Redskins, turned to the Washington football team, and now are the Commanders.
Worst name in sports.
Okay.
Worst name in sports.
But they looked at their brand and they say, you know what? Yeah, it is a little weird that we're just using like a type of person as our mascot. Whether everybody's super mad about it or some people aren't. And they said, fuck it, yeah, like let's change our name. It's not a big deal. The Braves, God, they're just like doubling down. Like what is that? Is that tomahawk chop? Is that like, what are you imitating a Native American doing?
Well,
what I don't understand. With a glow stick, while cheering for a baseball team. What the hell? Like, talk about the worst cheer ever. You've got it. And because you're Atlanta, I'm calling you out on it. And I'm so sick of the Braves. And I really hope we freaking beat them. Oh, come on, Mets. Don't take that bullshit. Don't.
What was the score tonight?
5-0.
What was the score last night?
13-1.
All right. So if we're doing a math of boys and girls, over the past 2 days,
18-1.
The tomahawk chopping, whatever, defending world champions have laid the smack down and basically shown America and the Mets that they have a pulse. Because honestly, that's all they've done. Okay, the Mets still have an overwhelming lead in the season series. Allow me to be that guy for a minute, because I love you, and this is my job.
It's not overwhelming.
This is not. It should, but this.
It's 8-6 now.
It's all right. When you listen, we talked about this on many occasions. It's on the show. It's recorded. Your goal as a baseball team, you take care of the low-hanging fruit. You want to play 700 ball against them, and you want to play 500 around there against the elite. Which right now, if things ended today, it'd be 8-6. Which is not going to end today. And as he alluded to earlier, or did he allude to this, the next 2 pitchers for the Mets are
Max Scherzer, Jacob DeGrom, in that order.
arguably the best 1-2 punch in the entire fucking game.
That's true.
I think I can make that argument.
Yeah,
and I'd
no
probably win it. Okay, so
there could be others, but they're right with anybody.
So, and here's the thing about this PSTD thing. That's fair. You know why I can say that? PTSD. That's fair. You know why I can say that? Guess where I'm from? They wrote a fucking book about this shit. They blamed it on something that wasn't even real. Okay? This is what PTSD can fucking do to you. PTSD. It's been doing it to me. And the bottom line is this.
Yeah.
When you've had it as long as I have, you can say it backwards. Okay? The bottom line is, I grew up in this environment. Okay? And Bill Buckner's gaffe only cemented it. Okay? You have an award-winning, all-time great journalist up in Boston writing a fucking book about a mystical fucking fictional curse.
Is that Shaughnessy?
Yeah, Shaughnessy, the curly-cued boyfriend. You know who I'm talking about up there in Beantown. Okay? And people
What's his first name?
Dan Shaughnessy. And people not only bought that book in droves, it was a bestseller, by the way, Tom. I mean, off the shelves in Boston.
Dude.
Couldn't keep it on the shelves fast enough for you fucking idiots up there who don't understand the reason the Red Sox fucking sucked forever is because they were racist. It wasn't because of some fucking mythical curse.
But see, what you also have to understand is that stupid narrative was like gold to the rest of the country.
It is gold.
So Red Sox fans must have been like, this is complete bullshit.
The people that have a brain between their ears.
Everybody else, we're like, oh my God, this curse thing is so cool.
It's not cool. It wasn't even real.
I loved when they broke the curse. And
well,
whether it was the curse of that or the curse of racism.
It was a curse of racism.
Yeah, so I like that even better.
And if you look at the best players on that team that did it, at least half of them, okay, were either African American or they were Hispanic. They were minorities.
They were dark-skinned Hispanic men like David Ortiz.
David Ortiz was Dominican. Okay, yeah. This was
that is beautiful.
It was beautiful. Yeah. Pedro Martinez. Like, this was beautiful.
Dave Roberts.
The steal. Like, that steal doesn't happen. None of this shit happens. Manny Ramirez. I can go on and on and on about that team. Okay, so the bottom line is, okay, I totally understand this, okay, because it's all I knew. If it wasn't for Larry Bird and Marvin Hagler, I'd probably be dead by now. Yeah. I probably would have killed myself, okay, because those two, and some little guy by the name of Flutie way back when, who came out of nowhere and won the Heisman at 5'8". The bottom line is, okay.
So you're saying those moments saved you?
Those moments saved me. Thank God for Larry Bird. Larry Bird probably, not just me, Larry Bird probably saved a lot of people up there, and Dennis Johnson, and Kevin McHale, and Robert Inge, all those guys, because the rest of that decade, okay.
See, my thing is, before I loved the Mets, I loved the Knicks.
Okay.
Yeah. And, I mean, I loved the Mets probably at the same time, but like.
Were the Knicks your first love? Is that fair
I
to
think
say?
so. I think so. I mean, I love the Mets, but like. The Knicks teams, they were the first team I fell in love with. Okay. Ewing, Oakley, Starks, all those guys.
All those guys. Mark Jackson, all those
and like, they got beat in the most heartbreaking ways.
They did.
Throughout the entire decade of the 90s.
They did. Yeah.
So like, that was the foundation, And during that part of the 90s, the Mets just stunk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was like they weren't even.
Yeah, they just weren't relevant, And the Braves would just always destroy them. The Pirates always destroyed them. And then the Mets were pretty good. In 2000, they lost to the Yankees in the World Series, which was very disappointing.
Well, yeah, the crosstown rival. Yeah, of course. Who hasn't won enough?
Right.
I mean, if you're a Mets fan, like, are you shitting me? How many do you have to fuck? Yeah.
I mean, 2006, and then the Knicks just disappeared.
Well, after Ewing,
after '99, they disappeared.
Well, they had Sprewell, Larry Johnson. They had that one team.
99 was that year.
Yeah.
When they went to the finals and they
lost to the Spurs. Yeah,
which wasn't.
No, they can be too, right? They can be too. Marcus Camby. Yeah, they had Larry Johnson, and they were a good team. Yeah. Spurs with Tim Duncan. That was and David Robinson. That was the kind of the beginning of that dynasty.
That was the beginning of their dynasty. So like,
no shame in that.
Losing that was not
no shame in that.
But it was still just disappointing as a fan, because that happened and then they disappeared.
Yeah,
were not to be seen again. Yeah, for a decade.
Yeah,
and then it was a quick flash in the pan, and now they're gone for another decade. Yeah. And the Mets, 2006, they were one of the best teams in baseball. Lost to the Cardinals in heartbreaking fashion,
and they got hit with the injury bug that year too, didn't they?
Pedro was gone.
It was permanent. It was permanent.
Yeah,
these guys were up for the year. They were done.
Well, they were one of the best teams in the league, and then they got hurt hurt right before the playoffs.
Right, worst time. Yeah.
And they took the Cardinals to the 7th game, even with those injuries.
Yeah.
And then Carlos Beltran struck out with the bases loaded on an Adam Wainwright curveball, and the season was over.
That
was depressing.
That's
and then the following
knows
year,
exactly what happened.
The following year, the Mets had, I don't know, a 12-game lead with 14 left, or like a 12-game lead. Maybe it was with, I can't remember.
It was almost mathematically impossible. Not
Yes.
quite. It was still possible, but very, very unlikely.
Yes,
I remember.
And
they found a way.
Again, they had injuries in the bullpen.
Yep.
And their bullpen was an atrocity. They lost all these games to the Nationals.
They weren't good then, were they? They weren't good yet, were they?
No.
This is before
they had just come down from Montreal.
Yeah, they were not good yet.
They had only been down from Montreal for a couple of years.
Yeah, they weren't on the map.
They were bad.
Yeah.
And the Mets blew it.
Just nosedive.
And that's one of the most depressed I've ever been. When the Phillies caught them. Because the Phillies were the ones behind them. And the Phillies took advantage of that. Last game of the season, I think we had to win, and we would have tied with Philly. Tom Glavine was pitching. He gave up 6 runs in the first inning. And I'll never forgive him for that.
I will reiterate the PTSD is legitimate. Okay, it's legitimate. You just saw it. Okay, so and I know because I know what it looks like.
And then the next year the same shit happened, and on the final game of the year they had a chance to get in or tie, and it was the last game in Shea Stadium. They blew it, and then they had to have the goodbye ceremony to Shea Stadium after blowing it.
That's bad.
And that's what I turn into every time the Mets lose. I don't care if it's in April or September.
Whatever. When something starts to happen in a pattern, you're like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
And
the Giants having 2 miraculous Super Bowls in the middle of all that
saved you.
Somehow
Saved you.
No, but somehow it doesn't change anything.
No, but it was something to at least hang your hat on.
Sure, that's true.
You had
true.
but and I know I was on the other end of that but, okay, for 2 of those. So I mean, no, that's the thing though. That's the beauty of living in a big sports town that has a lot of teams. Another team can save you. Okay? When the ball went through Bill Buckner's legs. Okay. Are you fucking kidding? I mean, thank God for Larry Bird that year. Thank God for Larry Bird that year.
Did Bird win it that year?
They won it. That's the team that people still consider the greatest team of all time. The 86 Celtics, who were 40-1 at home. That is still an NBA record.
Wow.
And Bird missed 7 games that year. They lost 6 of them. They were 67-15. Had he been healthy for all 82, they might have won 70 that year.
Now let me ask you this, because this is gonna make things different for me. Did the Celtics,
in a good way or a bad way?
Well, it just depends.
Okay.
Did the Celtics win that in the summer of '86, or did they win it like the follow? Like, was it the season that started in '86 or finished in '86?
They won it before.
Before that happened in the Sox.
Yeah, but the Patriots had just gotten blown out 46-10 by the Bears in February, which was at that time the worst blowout in Super Bowl history.
They got blown out by who?
The Chicago Bears, the '85 Bears.
Okay, so you were down.
We were already in the dumps. We're like,
pick you up.
Bird picked us up,
and then the Sox
and the Sox brought us back. But the bottom line is, when we look back on that year, there's the '86 Celtics, who are considered
not all bad,
and not all bad. And Marvin Hagler that year had defended his title for the 11th time, which was a record, undisputed middleweight champion. So we had 2 things that kept us afloat in a big way. Championships are big. We were talking about 2 of them here. The greatest belt in the world, the middleweight boxing crown, before Donald, what's his dickhead there, the guy with the hair, what's his name? Frickin' Tyson's promoter there. Don King destroyed boxing. But we had him and we had the Celtics. Thank God. Because I don't think that region would have survived what the Patriots did and then what the Red Sox. I can't say Bill Buckner. Bill Buckner alone didn't cost them that series. But that's the play everybody remembers.
Sure.
They were ahead 3-0 in Game 7 and blew that.
Well, the problem with blaming Bill Buckner is
he's the easy target.
If he makes that play, the game is tied.
Yeah, it's tied.
The game was already tied.
Mm-hmm. They get out.
It was tied on the wild pitch.
Yeah.
So if he makes that play,
it's just time.
They may have still
lost.
The Red Sox are still in shambles. Like to recover from an inning like that.
But they didn't lose. They didn't lose the game. They lost the
exactly.
Game. They lost the game on that play.
Right.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
so you still know what would have happened. They still had a chance.
Yeah, that's true.
But the thing is,
that game did lose the game.
That play lost the game.
They were ahead by more than a run.
No, they were ahead in both. They were ahead in both games.
Well,
so it wasn't just Bill.
It
wasn't just Bill Buckner. That's the play that everybody remembers. So it's kind of like when the USA when they beat the Russians in hockey, and they had, people forget they had to win the gold medal after that. They still had to beat Finland, and they were down 2-1 going into the third period against Finland. They came back and beat Finland for the gold medal.
Wow.
No one even mentions that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no one even mentions that because
how shitty would that have been?
Oh my God, to beat the greatest hockey team ever after they beat you 10-3 2 weeks before, by the way, in Madison Square Garden, that debacle.
And then lose the championship.
After you beat the team that nobody could beat. Oh, it would have been awful.
Dude,
okay,
we should make a movie where there is an alternate. We're basically an alternate reality where that's reality.
Do you want everyone to be depressed?
No, wouldn't that be
Well, it could be hysterical.
What do you think would be different?
The melt. Oh God. Well, look at the question has always been in sports.
Would Russia have attacked us in warfare?
No, listen.
If they had won that game,
what in Afghanistan?
No, that's what happened. Like, would they have started bombing us if they were like, "Oh shit, the hockey team won. Now let's get them."
Now they're down. Now they're down.
Right.
Now they're really
now
down. Now we got them.
Or did us beating them make them go, "Oh fuck, they're for real though. They could skate. They could shoot. Oh shit, we're gonna let's just chill."
What people don't forget.
That's a joke.
I know it's a joke.
I don't think Russia would really have done.
When Russia had won 4 gold medals in a row, so they had dominated international hockey for 16 years.
Okay.
The last team to win it before the Russians was the 1960 U.S. men's hockey.
Oh my God!
And the last
1960.
And here's the irony: the last guy cut from that team was Herb Brooks, who was the coach of the 1980s.
No.
Yep. He was the last
guy cut from the 1960 team that won
the gold medal. Yep. How's that for some
history?
That's
heartbreaking.
How's that for some history there, boy?
That's heartbreaking for him.
So all you've learned is learn something tonight. Okay.
Did they say that in the movie?
It's actually brought up in the movie because right before the Olympics, they bring in this kid who's a scorer, and there's thought that Aruzioni, the guy who hit the game-winning goal against the Russians from BU, was going to get cut. Because this
and they go to him and tell him,
we're because Mark Johnson,
we're a family.
We're a family, and that's when Herb Brooks finally went, "Oh my God, you actually said it." And he's like, "A family," and then he looked at his assistant coach and goes, "And this is the family you want?" And they're like, "Yes, fucking A." And then he turned around, he walked back with the coach. He's like, "You got your team?" He's like, "Almost."
Okay, so here's something I love about that movie.
Okay,
here's something I love about that movie because, as you know, I was not alive when this happened. So
no,
I don't
2 years before he was born. You don't have the memory of it, which sucks. I wish if there's one thing I could do for you, I wish I could take you back in time. That way you could see that one.
I know, but like I don't have the connection to it to respect it the way that you do.
No, but I understand that you didn't see it.
Exactly,
you didn't see it.
So, but when I watched that movie, something that really stands out to me, and I don't know if this is really how Herb Brooks coached or not, but he actually coaches.
Oh, this is exactly how he coaches.
So, and this is what I mean by that. Coaching is not telling people how to do shit. No. Coaching people is getting people to self-actualize by asking questions and putting people in situations where they experience different things. And like when he kept saying, "Who do you play for?"
Yes.
Like,
by the way, that happened. So that really happened.
Right. And but I don't even know if it did.
No, it did.
My thing is like,
the players talk about
instead of him preaching every meeting, "Hey, you play for the USA."
He never said it.
He never told them that because he wanted them to get to their own conclusion and actually realize that on their own. Because when somebody actualizes, it's more powerful than anything.
Of course it is.
Anyone could ever.
And a great coach can bring that out of a team,
right?
And an individual player as well.
So that's how it really goes.
And by the way, there's an art to that because the great coaches know what that is because they've all had to do it at one point or another. They have.
And it sounds like the way he pulled family out of them.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like he had that plan. Okay, I'm gonna bring in another guy just to show them how fragile this is.
Well, to show them that the goalie
Right.
Told him, he's like, look, he's the one who tells the story about him getting cut back in '60. He goes, he got that close. You think he get nothing? He'll do whatever it takes. And he was the one guy who figured it out. He's like, oh, he'll do it.
Yeah.
You think he won't do it? If it's the difference between us winning and goal, he'll do it. He'll fucking do it. But he was waiting for that moment for them to go, no, you ain't breaking us up. We're taking.
So then he's like, oh shit, they actually have grown.
They've grown into a family. And that's what he was waiting for because he understood. He said it. Common men go nowhere. You have to be uncommon. And if you look at every great athlete in our lifetime alone, and you can count on one hand these all-time greats, right? These Jordans and these LeBron, they're uncommon. These Bradys, they're wired differently. Okay, they will do whatever it takes. Tom Brady goes, if you want to beat me, you're gonna have to give up your life to do it because I'm giving up mine. He was talking about his wife and his kids, like I'm here. If you want to compete with me, you better be ready to give up your life because I'm giving up mine. He has said that. That's the closest thing to trash talking I've really ever heard Tom Brady really say.
That's bullshit.
No, that's the word. That's the best thing he's ever said.
Brady talks shit.
Not like that. That was the line. That is the line. Okay, when he retires.
Yeah, but that's not shit talking. That's getting in a teammate's ass.
No, he was telling his opponents.
Oh, really?
he's saying, he's telling them, you want to beat me? You better be ready to give up your life because I'm giving up mine. That's what he's saying.
I thought you were saying.
No.
He was telling his teammates.
No, he's telling his opponent, you want to beat me? You want to know what it takes to beat me? You better be ready to give up your life because I'm giving up mine. That's what he was saying.
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome. And he's backed that up. So the bottom line is, with the Mets, this is totally understandable because I've gone through it. But here's the thing, okay? And we've talked about this. The injury bug is the thing. Hopefully these injuries are not season-ending, as far as we know, back spasms and such. It might be. Who knows? No. Oh, yeah, he may be back late tonight because he was dropping off, what's the name of the train?
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
that's right.
So, anyway.
Yeah, no, so not season-ending, but Luis Guillorme, their main utility player.
Well, this is what I wanted to ask
defender,
you, because you know this
he's
roster.
4-6.
Okay, well, here's the thing. And before we get into this segment, but ask this. You know this roster inside now. You know it like I know the Celtics. All right, what's the impact of this? Short-term, long-term.
Okay.
Give me what you think the impact is.
So the impact is you basically just saw two turns through the rotation where the Mets had all 5 of their starters that they planned to have.
Sure.
And they went nuts. You know what I'm saying? Like, they dominated. Mm-hmm. They went on this run. They beat the Braves 4 out of 5. Okay? Mm-hmm. Yep. They're not going to be able to do that anymore because they're going to have a guy who's really a long man in the bullpen now enter their rotation. Okay. So they're not going to be as strong
in the short term.
In the short term. That is going to impact their bullpen because on days where that guy throws, bullpen's going to be in the game a lot more.
Okay.
Luis Guillorme, their utility Swiss Army knife, best defender in the league, in my opinion, plays second, short, and third.
He plays 3 positions.
Yes. And
all well.
all like
gold glove,
gold
level?
glove.
Okay.
They call him Los Manos or Las Manos. Las Manos. Which is hands. His hands are ridiculous.
Wait, wouldn't it be Los Manos masculine?
No, it's a feminine. So it's a feminine identifier.
So you scoring at home. We're trying to get this correct.
No, because so the Mets broadcast made that mistake one day. They called them Los Manos, and they came back the next day and said, "Hey, I messed up. It's actually a feminine identifier.
Okay,
Las Manos." Okay. So that's a big impact. But here's because he was taking time at third base, second base. And if Lindor ever got hurt, he could be there for him.
Sure.
But what has now happened, this is what I'm most positive about. The Mets are calling up their number 2 prospect.
His name is Batty.
It's actually Beatty.
Beatty. His name is Brett Beatty. He bats lefty. He throws righty. 6'3", batting like 380, 19 homers, 60 ribbies. He didn't tell me that. That's why he's kind of going, how the fuck does he know that? Yeah. Oh, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. We do our homework here. Okay. They called him up today. I was like, going, who is this guy? Yeah. And then I'm looking at this. He was a AAA, double A, AAA, and they put his stats up there. I'm like, holy shit.
Yes. So I'm positive about that.
This dude looks like a ringer. Okay, he's a big dude. Yeah. Oh, another big bat in the lineup with 2 big bats already.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So I'm positive because if he comes up and he gives them some pop, like They need a big bat.
Sometimes
they do a lot of pesky hitting.
Sometimes, folks, there's no defense like a good offense.
Yeah.
And when you lose some defense, you got to make it up somewhere, and that's what he's talking about.
Yeah, and I mean, the pitching's going to be down. All right, we need run scores.
We got to score more runs.
This kid can hit gaps.
This kid can hit.
Like, that would
He's batting 360, I believe. Yeah. And he's big. He's like 60. He's a big kid.
Yeah.
No, I saw this.
And, you know, like, when a young guy comes up, like, it's exciting.
And he's in the middle of a pennant race. This is good. He's coming in at this time like, all right, I got to just make a name right now when it matters most.
Right.
This is huge.
And at the trade deadline.
This is potentially huge.
At the trade deadline, when everybody said the Mets didn't do enough, they kept saying the prices are too high. They did not want to give up guys like Beatty.
And I wouldn't have.
You know.
When I looked at his numbers, I was like, okay.
Well, that's the thing. Like, do you give up your best prospects for some catcher you're going to have for half a season?
No.
Right. So, but now he's got to come up and he's got to hit in a big spot.
But he's coming into a very good lineup.
That's true.
He doesn't have to be.
He's coming into a good club.
Yes, he doesn't have to. They can bring him along the right way with a bunch of seasoned grizzled veterans, and they're in the race.
Right.
So he can learn on the job, and he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to go out there and hit 50 home runs, but he has to just get on base, knock people in when they are in scoring. That's what he's got to do, and he's capable of doing that.
There's a man on third, less than 2 outs.
He's got to
fly ball or ground ball.
He's got to get him home. That's what he's got to do, and he's capable of that.
Yeah.
So, and they need extra runs right now because, to his point about the pitching. So when I read this today, unbeknownst to him, I was saving it for tomorrow night, but I didn't plan this. So I was like, I saw this kid. I was going to ask him, who the fuck is this kid? I'm like, so
they've got 3 big names, and for the past few weeks, it's been disappointing because, you know, they kept saying, "Oh, they're not ready to be brought up," you know, and I guess with the Mets at full strength, they were not ready to be brought up.
No, but this is the thing.
But now you get a couple injuries.
This is why
you know what? This kid can play.
But this is why you don't make that move at the deadline. Because look, we talked about this when he wasn't here, when I was talking to the damn shirt. Okay, the great unknown in all sports is the injury bug. You don't know when and where it's going to hit, and who it's going to hit, and you have to be you have to be able to win in other ways because you don't know who's going to go down. If it was hitting, they got to get better out of the bullpen. They got to bring up get another pitcher, get another arm, somebody who can keep the runs down. Okay, so it's one or the other. You got to be able to do both. Or that's what contenders do. If they get weak in one spot, they can make up for it somewhere else. And this is what the Mets are doing. Okay, and when I saw this kid's numbers, they jumped off the page at me. I'm just like, okay, because I'm thinking of what they already got. I'm going to throw this kid in the middle of it. Oh shit. Okay, so
he does well.
So we'll see who does well. And by the way, his first. Is he playing tomorrow?
He's supposed to be in the lineup tomorrow.
Okay, here we go. Baptism by fire. But you know what, though? If this kid's by the way, if he's what the prospect think he is, he'll show up for this.
Let me see who's pitching for the Braves tomorrow, because that could make a difference.
Of course it could.
Because he's a lefty. If they got a lefty throwing,
but you can still pitch hit him later in the game too. You don't got to start him.
A bullpen on.
Yeah, you don't got to start. Yeah, you don't got to start him.
Well, they've been doing like that platoon. At DH, they're doing a platoon. At third base, Guillorme and Escobar were doing a platoon.
Okay.
Because Guillorme's lefty, Escobar's a switch hitter, but he stinks from the left side.
Sure.
So they were playing him, to hit against lefties.
Yep.
And they were playing Guillorme to hit. So now they could do that with Beatty and another guy.
Okay. Yeah. So who? You see who's pitching tomorrow?
The Braves have Odorizzi. I want to say he's.
Doesn't tell you what he is? Larry's L or right? Shouldn't it be like a left and L?
Well, like up there it doesn't.
Yeah. You have to.
But Odorizzi just came in, so he's a right-handed pitcher. So Beatty can start.
So he can start. Okay. Well, there you have it. Okay.
Yeah, they just got him from Houston.
So we're gonna end this segment real quick. We're gonna.
That's right. I need a refill.
We're gonna refill. So look.
Thanks for letting me do that.
No, it's all right. So segment 2, this is going to be a happy rant. This is going to be an I told you so. Okay, I don't know if you were watching the NFL Wire today, but one Aaron Rodgers had some choice words for his suddenly depleted receiving corps. And dare I say, they were not words of choice. Anyway, you get yourself, it's Tip 'em Back Tuesday, leading into Wet My Whistle Wednesday. Guess what? Tom and I are off tomorrow. Surprise. Anyway, and the next day he's off all week. I'm so jealous of this guy. Anyway, but I'm glad he's back. I missed him, and this is the way to get him back. That's all right. He's going to have he's going to get to sit back and laugh at the next segment.
I feel better already.
Good. This helps. It's therapeutic. It's therapeutic.
It's sad that I was so annoyed before, but God, I feel great.
No, but this is the thing. This is what sports does to you. and you're playing against a heated rival who's the defending world champs, who's not going to go away. All right, hey, look, the Braves got up off the mat and showed they had some stones. They're a champion.
It's true. They won the freaking series.
Yeah,
last year.
they're the world champions. Hey, guess what, Mets? You're playing against the world champs, and they ain't going to roll over. You're going to have to beat them. And here's the good news. I think the veterans in that locker room know it. That's okay, guys. They got us today, but there's still 2 more games to go in this series. Okay, and your 2 best pitchers, maybe the best combination in baseball. So if you have to have a problem, this is the way to have the problem. Okay, so you guys get a drink.
Yeah, if you're facing adversity,
this might be the way to do
face it like that.
Oh, I have Michael and Larry going. Yeah, we'll be all right. We'll be all right. We'll be okay. All right, it's all right.
So bad news is we lost the first 2.
Yeah, that's all right. So anyway, you guys get a quick drink. We're going to refill. We'll see you on the other side.